Good morning. I'm having a pretty rough week. My urge to complain is very strong, but I know that nobody's going to sit and watch a video if I'm complaining. So, anyway, I'm at work early, and the power went out. I'm doing a video by candlelight because I need to do something to keep me sane. Sane-ish. I'm not afraid of the dark. What I am afraid of is sudden darkness, and that is what I found myself in. Do you know how many spooky sounds there are in a mall 2 hours before opening? A lot. All easily explained, absolutely, but I don't like it. Now, we do have at least one entity in my store. Thankfully, he's a very friendly guy. See, I work in a metaphysical shop. We sell jewelry, statues, dragons, fairies, figurines, body jewelry randomly, incense, candles, the whole shebang. But we were a very small shop before, 2 doors down, a third the size of what we are now. And in that shop, we had 2 entities. One of them I called the Tapper, and one of them was the Ceiling Dweller. Thankfully, Ceiling Dweller stayed in the other shop. Just 2 doors down from me right now. I hated that guy. Oh, he was so spooky. We had an open panel in one of our ceilings. One of the panels just never got replaced. And it was just one of those things where you could constantly feel something just looking at you from it. Now, do I think it was a dead person? No. I think it was just the combined fear of, bored people in a spooky shop with, an open ceiling panel that led to absolute and complete and utter darkness. But the spookiness of it became real enough that whatever was in there became a real thing. Tapper followed us here. He's great. Basically, sometimes you work in a mall, you work in a retail shop, it gets slow. And when it gets slow, what do you want to do? You want to hang out on your phone or read a book or do anything other than work because you're not helping customers, so fuck it. Usually when it's slow, we do jewelry, like we just polish jewelry or clean shelves, something like that, but sometimes you just don't want to do it. And when you find yourself zoning out and just doing your own thing, you'll hear usually about 3 taps and get that feeling like somebody had just walked into the store and that you need to be present and aware and, oh, how can I help you? Again, I don't think Tapper was ever a person that was living. I think he is just the manifestation of being bored and waiting for somebody to walk in to relieve you of this boredom. But he's been around long enough that he's real. You can feel it. I remember one time in the old store, I was listening to a horror podcast. I was polishing jewelry, but I was also listening to a podcast called the No Sleep Podcast, which is great. If you like scary stories, I recommend. And I'd start listening to it, and suddenly it would just stop. And I'd look around. I'd hear the tapping. All right, Tapper, I'm polishing jewelry. All right, I'm staying busy. And I'd turn my podcast back on. I'm the kind of person that likes to cackle when I'm scared. When I get scared, I was like... That's how I deal. So Tapper got the impression that I liked being scared, which he's not totally wrong. I went a while without any customers, and it came time to close up. So closing up responsibilities, cleaning glass, counting out the register, doing all that, and vacuuming. And as I'm vacuuming, I move the vacuum forward, and suddenly I feel the presence of someone tall and strong directly behind me. And I've been dealing with ghosties long enough to be like, hey, fuck off. And they usually do. So I said, hey, fuck off. And I moved forward with the vacuum and I moved back and I continued on my way and it stopped. And then it did it again. It did it about 3 times while I was vacuuming. And eventually I had to stop, turn off the vacuum and say, hey, Tapper, I understand that you are trying to entertain me. You think I like being scared. And the fact is, I like to be scared on my own conditions. I don't like being afraid of you because I view you as a friend. So please don't do this. And it stopped doing it. But from that point on, every time I tried to listen to a horror podcast in the store, it turned it off because it didn't want to get excited by how excited I was getting about being scared. I learned a valuable rule that day. Don't be enjoying something scary unless you want to get scared because he is absolutely willing to oblige. Fuck, I'm going to sage my store. That's what I'm going to do. Don't worry, Tapper. It's not going to touch you. You're not a malicious entity. I don't know. I just thought I'd tell you the first story that came into my head because I'm bored and I hate this shit. I don't like it. I've had a bad week and I would really like the power to come back on, please. Thank you. I love your face and have a beautiful day.